the conversation in 2 or 3 years' time. I don't think it's the end of plastic. If you're a traveller, that need is going to be there for a little while yet. But Australia is certainly one of the markets in the world leading the movement to being, getting to cashless and plasticless, and going fully mobile.
And Ellie, any further comments on that?
Well, 2 to 3 years feels like a really long time.
For this afternoon.
Yeah, well, a year would be great. Well, I think that, we have been really pleasantly surprised at how quickly the adoption has taken off, and what we're hoping for is that with this kind of technology, if you make it good enough, there's fun aspects of it too, right? That the adoption rate goes faster. I mean, if we look at what we've achieved in Korea, for example, gives me hope that hopefully that 2 to 3 year number can go down a little bit.
And Nick?
So, I agree with what both panelists have already said. I think, firstly, we're already seeing lots of mobile activity with consumers buying their groceries, paying for their fuel, shopping for outfits at Myer and David Jones, dining out and using their mobile phones. So I think that there's latent demand, and I think that's a really exciting thing that consumers are going to be able to use their Samsung phones, as of today, to pay for those items. I get that, in order to displace a product that is already doing a perfectly good job, you've got to differentiate in some way. And I think that, aside from the convenience and the security that we've already touched on, as we look at enhancing the value proposition, Ellie talked in her presentation about loyalty cards and so forth. When I have to turn up to buy my grocery and I have a choice of either pulling out my phone, tapping once, and my transaction and my loyalty transaction happens simultaneously versus reaching for both, that's going to be an incentive for me to access my phone as a first choice means of payment. And it's certainly, from our standpoint, it's convenient, and it means that people don't have to grab for their wallet, they just pull out their phone, and it keeps us front of mind as well. So.
And Ellie, in the Australian market, a number of the major banks have launched their own proprietary apps. Can you summarise the advantage or the benefit of investing in Samsung Pay?
Yeah, I think our partnership strategy, as I said, is really to work with our banking partners, not to compete with them. We will look for ways to work together. I mean, Amex has an app as well, whether it's in future integrations, but certainly ways where we can enhance that experience for them, and in return have people like our phones more. We will be developing that type of a cooperation partnership model.
Sure, okay. And Alan, we're starting to see partnerships between fintech players and regular financial services providers, if you like, and certainly the fintech space is garnering a lot of attention. It's moving quite fast. Can you talk a little about how partnerships with fintech players helps to deliver value to your end customer?
Yeah, look, certainly the fintechs out there, we're very aware we're not always going to have the best solution. We've got a lot of bright minds all over the world working on payment solutions, but we're not always going to have the right answer. So the solution has to be partnerships, and we look very closely at a number of different fintech partnerships. Our infrastructure is now enabled to let us partner much more easily, APIs to plug and play different solutions in a secure way, a big part of our strategy. And in fact, this partnership with Samsung we see as a great example of that. We have a number of proprietary solutions, but we're very excited about partnering with Samsung because they're bringing a solution to market that is a fantastic solution that customers will love. We're not sure what the winning solutions will be. We're pretty sure they'll be mobile. We're pretty sure that others out there are going to come up with some great ideas, and partnering is one of the ways we make sure we bring best solutions to customers.
And Nick, anything in terms of delivering value to Amex card members and merchants?
Well, I think partnerships like this are a great example of some of the things we need to do. These guys get the user experience right, and that really adds value to our value proposition. So thinking about how we partner to make a better customer experience. I talked about our focus on the customer experience end to end before. I think that mobile payments has been an interesting journey, right? And if you look at the user experience today versus just 3 or 4 years ago, it's transformational how much improved it is, and working closely with Samsung and other handset manufacturers and many other players in what is becoming an increasingly crowded ecosystem is key to that.
And sure. And Ellie, my final question for you is around just, can you summarise in your view just how important a payments component is becoming and has become in terms of consumers' relationships with their mobile device?
Sure. Before that, I just wanted to let everyone know FinTech. This is kind of it's a good partnership. Mobile payment, I use that one too. But anyway, okay. So sorry, your question again.
It was in terms of summarising. If you think about the relationship that a consumer has with their mobile device, where does payments fit into that?
Yeah. So it's interesting. I'm actually seeing people now on their mobile devices. Just in the last couple of years, how important the phone has been to all of us, and how often we have it in our hand, whether it's things like location or everything else it does besides the phone, right? For us, Samsung Pay is the first part of our service strategy, right? So we want to provide services with a tech advantage. And we hope that as we improve the experience in Samsung Pay, whether it's payments or loyalty, more and more and more people are going to use their phone and love their phones. But I also would like to say that our service strategy goes beyond just Samsung Pay and payments. So we want to replace your wallet. We want to go beyond payments into things like gift cards, value add. Also, we think quite a lot about who are we as a company. So when we talk about providing cool payment services, we are starting to already think about how do we pull in all the different things that we do from a consumer electronics point of view. In the US, there was an announcement where there's a refrigerator where you can order stuff. There's payments built into our refrigerators, right? So, as we look into the future, how we do services and payments, I think will go beyond Samsung Pay, and Samsung Pay is kind of our first entry to earn us the right and hopefully the trust of our consumers to keep going further.
Okay, thank you. We now have some time for questions from the floor. There were two roving mics around. If I could just ask, wait for the mic to come into your hand. If you could then provide your name, your organisation, and also which the panellists you'd like to direct your question to. So one question here.
Just grab Prasad to jump off as well, if that's okay.
Sure.
Hi, everybody. Matt Siegel from the Reuters News Agency. My question is for Nick. You are partnering with both Apple Pay and Samsung Pay. Both companies sort of view their products in a different way. Their business models are quite different. Samsung's is a way of driving hardware sales, whereas Apple views mobile payments as a direct revenue stream. Can you talk a little bit about the differences between the two services as Amex views them, and some of the pluses and minuses that you see of each different type of partnership?
So we're happy to be partnering with both of the mobile payment solutions, with both of the mobile payment solutions. I think from a customer standpoint, the experience is that there are lots of similarities at a high level. It's a more secure means of payment, it's more convenient, and from our perspective, we want to be able to provide that experience to our customers and not dictate to them which phone they should use. A part of our strategy is to ensure that we're able to meet our customers' needs, and that's what I talked about earlier on. Partnering with Samsung Pay in addition to Apple Pay now means that 90% of the customers that engage with us through their smartphones are able to use mobile payments. I'm probably not in a position to talk about the OEM's position on how they on their business models as it relates to mobile payments.
Could I welcome up to on stage Prasad Gokhale, who's Vice President of Samsung Australia's mobile division as well. So I think Prasad is best placed to provide some local perspective on some of the things we've spoken about.
No problem.
Question there?
Thank you. Sorry, to Ellie or Prasad. When would we expect to see other partnerships with other Australian providers announced by Samsung? And also a question slightly off the back of that, differentiating from Apple Pay, are you concerned at all that your customers will sort of have we'll see this as an exclusive kind of. I'm sorry, getting confused. We'll see it as mobile payments as an exclusive sort of factor because of your partners. That your partners are not like American Express isn't a bit seen as an exclusive card rather than a sort of mainstream consumer card.
Thank you. So, first of all, welcome to the event to everybody, and thanks for making the time. Look, let me answer the first question. I think we are, as Ali mentioned in her presentation, we've been working with Australian partners for the last 3 years. So we are already there, right? And we are all about the right customer experience, right? So the work we have done with Citi and Amex is a good example of a global partnership coming together. And that lends to a very strong global traveler base and the unique experiences these two key partners deliver to the market already today. In terms of the other Australian financial institutions and other partners, we are working very hard to integrate their experiences, which they currently deliver to tap and pay solutions, and how we further complement them. We are all about complementing their experiences. And what Samsung Pay will do, and you will see very soon when you get a chance to see our pods, that Samsung Pay will integrate those experiences in a very unique fashion. So it will take a little bit more time, and I'll only encourage our partners who are not here, but they will be reading or listening to what you say, that Samsung is here, and why not accelerate our go-to-market together.
Any other questions? One there.
Hi, yes, Alex Zaharovic from ITY.com. When I got a Samsung S7 to review, turned it on, and one of the things it does is it tells you about Samsung Pay and asks you to register to sign up to get notified. It's launching today, so I'm just wondering for all those people that, obviously there'll be articles going out at midday, but when will you be notifying all those people that registered that it's switched on? Sometime today, tomorrow, this week? I'm just curious.
So we are working with our partners, and both our partners are ready to put Play in action, and you will see through their announcements, and I'll welcome our partners to come and share something. But from our perspective, everything is ready, and through our partnerships, we will be sending those customers who have pre-registered options to join in. And if they're also welcome to join Samsung as well as Amex and Citi as they deem appropriate.
Will Samsung phones also support Android Pay when it launches?
We can discuss it offline, but we as Samsung, we support, we work with Google closely, and as and when they decide to implement their services in Australia, and we will do our best to support them because that's the customer choice. We are all about giving customer choice. Let the customer decide what's good for them, right?
And Nick and Alan, care to touch on the plans?
In the coming weeks, we'll be proactively going out to our existing customers as well as new customers. If you go to our webpage, I think it might be now, but otherwise from midday, we'll be telling our customers the way they can take advantage of this.
Sure.
And similar to what Nick's announced, we've got a great offer for existing customers, 5% cash back on their Samsung Pay purchases in, I think, the first 90 days of use. So we definitely try and encourage customers to see it, try it, really engage with it, because we think it's a great solution.
Yeah, I think the media embargo and is from lunchtime today for all of us, for partners as well as press. So we're excited about the opportunity to communicate with our customers. I've mentioned the offer before. The first thing that we want to do is, as a part of our strategy for rewarding our customers, is to encourage them to engage with Samsung Pay and to be rewarded for doing so.
Sure. There's another question there.
Hi, Fawad here from Telside. Just wondering what the strategy is around wearables and payments with Samsung, because it clearly is a differentiator to card-based approaches. It seems to be the most frictionless approach to payments. Very little by way of wearables today.
Yeah, I think it was just, I forgot to mention it, like in Korea, we do have it available in the watch. And it's certainly on our roadmap for all the different products that we want to add on to. So in any market where we can integrate it, we are looking to do that.
Can you share what percentage of wearable users, Samsung wearable users, are using payments in Korea already?
I don't have the percentage. I just know my friends who tap with their watches, but I
That's
can maybe
anecdotal.
follow up and get you some
That'd
stats
be
on
good,
that.
yeah.
And I think in the Australian context, we will learn more from Korea and bring those experiences here. But as Ellie mentioned in her presentation, we are not limiting Samsung Pay to payments only, right? we are going to bring more value-added services to life. And as we evolve them, we will build a roadmap and we will make it more richer. So whether it is through our VR products or through our ear products on the wearables or through mobile phones, we'll make sure we deliver a great ecosystem of experiences.
Another question down there?
Alex Gibbon from Finder. You've obviously got a fair number of older Samsung phones which are NFC but not magnetic stripe enabled. Are there any plans to allow those devices to access Samsung Pay without magnetic compatibility?
So and we can take it offline as well with you in detail, but the broad strokes is any device which supports Marshmallow and above will be able to use Samsung Pay. Any device which doesn't support Marshmallow and above, we are going to offer to those customers an opportunity to upgrade up. So that's the easiest way up to Samsung Pay. And good news is Australians are replacing handsets on average anywhere between 20 and 24 months anyway. So we have a very detailed upgrade program and we'll work with our partners to further enable that.
There's another question right here.
Yeah, Claire Riley from CNET. We obviously saw mentions of transit in Korea. Can I get a specific timeline on when Samsung expects to be able to launch with transit partners in Australia, things like Opal and the Myki? And just following up, we talked about how you were planning to bake in the experience of what users are getting with their existing banking apps. Don't expect you to mention names, but the specific timeline of when we could see a third provider.
Let me answer the transit one first. On transit one, it is a lot of security aspects and there are other stuff involved. We are working through all the right authorities, and we will be keeping you all updated with a little bit more when we have some trials coming through. We need to do some trials, right? We need to make sure it works properly. So we will keep you updated, but a very good application of our whole roadmap is in transit, absolutely. The number two part is regards to how our schedule with our partners. We in Samsung like to under-promise and over-deliver. So we will, rather than announcing partnerships, we will come to you and together with our partners and then announce it together, what we're going to do, as we did with Amex and Citi today. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hi, Alex from IT Wire again. Yesterday at the Apple WWDC event, they announced Apple Pay on the web, which is almost a bit like PayPal, where you can use Apple Pay to buy things online. Will Samsung introduce something similar, where you can buy things online and authenticate it with your Samsung Pay phone?
I think that's in line with wearables, where all these different form factors, all these different ways to pay that consumers will need, we are considering, and we'll look to develop by market as and when we can. But we really want to try to capture all the use cases, right, for payments, as well as all the other different types of cards you have, so it's all in there, and then we go big with the IoT stuff. So it's all part of our development.
Thank you.
Very final question
Yes.
from down the front here.
Matt Siegel again from Reuters. You talked about partnerships with the banks in Australia, and in our conversations previously, you mentioned that you wanted to kind of jump in feet first rather than lining up banks, a number of local banks to launch with. In a lot of ways, the Australian banks have been tech innovators. They've developed a lot of apps that they're very proud of, and in many ways, what you're seeking to do with Samsung Pay will make those apps to a certain extent redundant. What can you offer? How do you make the argument to Australian banks that have spent a lot of money, feel that their technology is working well, have seen very good uptake from consumers, that they should drop that and effectively hand over control to, or not control, but hand over that functionality to Samsung?
So, I mean, the experience that I have in the US on that is a couple things. I don't think it makes it obsolete. I think that people go to apps for different things. So in my personal, I check my Citibank app and my Amex app separate to my Samsung Pay app because it does different things. I think the benefit to consumers is in one app you can see across different cards, but with my banking in the US they do silly things like write checks. So I still have to go and see if that check cleared. What it does do for me is in the Samsung Pay app, the branding of my cards is really prevalent. So I actually probably see it more than I would just using the banking app. So we have to figure out complementary use cases so that we don't make it obsolete, but somehow users get what they need from both places. What we hope to do is go beyond what banking does for the consumer and maybe add that type of a user experience, but certainly I think people will still go to their banking app to do their banking.
And to support Ellie further, our philosophy working with the local banks is very simple. We want to leverage what they have done, right? If you look at the work we did with Tap and Pay, we did not go and say drop this or drop that. And number two is with the Samsung Pay in-app experience, we will work harder, and we are, and that's why it takes a little bit longer time, right? And the other one I'll highlight is a lot of legacy infrastructure is in place in this market, which has to be replaced, right? And which is happening. And it's a lot of CRM activities have to be done, and there's a lot of other upgrades have to be done. So I think our local partners, I will not speak on their behalf, but I'll say we don't seem to have any any fights with them or anything. It's very complementary. We are extending the digital transformation. We are going to help their customers to do more with mobile payments on the go, and we are going to bring more CRM opportunities for those customers. I was just talking to Alan today in the morning. The kind of stuff we can do is not seen here yet. So I think the pie is big enough, and our business model lends to it. We don't clip anything, and we don't keep any data. So those two things further help, right?
Thank you. I might wrap things up there. So on behalf of Samsung, Citi and Amex, thank you all for joining us this morning. There is going to be some coffee served just outside the room here, and I'm sure the panellists will be here to field any more questions. So thank you very much for joining us, and please do hang around over there. Thank you.